Kit Kats can read. Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome to another video, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a review on An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. So the first half of this video is going to contain the non-spoilers and the second half will contain more sort of like spoilers in more detail. And this time around it's actually a reread for me. I did listen to the audiobook of this, so I have actually read this before. I read it as an ARC when it first came out, and I realised that I didn't actually review it. I didn't even review it on Goodreads, which is very strange, but so I'm updating it now. So I just want to say as a disclaimer, the first time around I did receive it as an ARC, and this time it's a physical review book which I exchanged with an ARC on Books for Trade. This review is going to contain my true opinions only, and nothing is going to deflect my opinion on this book. So An Ember in the Ashes is the first book that is in this series by Sabaa Tahir. This is the only series that Sabaa has created so far. I did check on Goodreads, she hasn't written anything else. She's been a part of a few anthologies and this is like her main series, but to be honest, judging by just how this book was, like I love the world that this book is in. So this book, I would say, is a fantasy, and it's like a fantasy that's done in a sort of like world where there is the basic synopsis of this book is we have this girl called Leia, and her family end up being killed. All of a sudden there's like an ambush, and so she escapes. Her brother has been captured, and so she sort of like goes under these catacombs and she discovers these people that are kind of like against the Empire, and so she sort of teams up with them, and like her way of getting her brother back is if she becomes a spy for them. So she then spies as a slave into the building, and she just has to bring back information from the Empire to these people in order to gain access to her brother being released. And so when she's the slave, she's discovering things, she's just discovering like how they work, and this is where she meets Elias, who is a soldier. He is our second main character, and this book is told from alternate perspectives. So we get Leia's side, we get Elias' side, and this is good because I like when there are dual perspectives, because we then get to learn like how things are from their sides, how things have gone from their sides, and we get to meet characters from their sides, and then somewhere like along the middle they just sort of like meet. And I think that's just like a brilliant way of this book coming across. So Elias, yes, he's a soldier, his mum is the leader, but she is a nasty piece of work. She's really horrible. She treats people so unfairly. She like literally like hurts all of the slaves in like horrible ways, and she's really not a nice person. So he is kind of against all of this, and he really doesn't want to like take his mum's place one day. It's not for him. Secretly he does want to run away. He wants that freedom. And so it's a very interesting story. There are trials throughout this book that these soldiers have to go through in order to become the sort of like leader, and the side of the leader is called like a blood shrike, and so like if you're not up there you can be the blood shrike sort of thing, and they're really gruesome tasks. So what I like about this book, actually, it does come with a map. So it shows you like the whole sort of like empire, which is really cool, and you get to see like where they all go, where they are taking their next trials and that sort of thing. So I think that's really cool as well. I think this story is interesting purely because it's different. I don't normally warm to fantasies, but I think Sabaa did a fantastic job of drawing me into this world. I read it when it first came out, and rereading it a few years later, I'm still loving it. So she's still done a really good job in order to capture my interest when I was just like a few years ago, and then just now. So she still does it really well, and it's like a story being told, and you really get to feel the emotions of Leia and Elias, and you really sort of like want them to meet and want them to help each other, and it's almost like you're there. And that's what I really like about books, when it feels like you're there. So I was listening to the audiobook this time around, and I thought the narrators did a fantastic job, because we have somebody narrating either side. They were really good, and I really enjoyed the audiobook this time around. I don't normally warm to audiobooks, so that just goes to show that it was a really good audiobook. So if you guys are interested, if you don't really sort of like, then I suggest the audiobook. Personally, I really like the two main characters. I really like Leia, and I really like Elias. Yeah, they are just two really awesome people. So then we have some slave characters that Leia meets as well. We have Cook, who is sort of like a bit, you know, withdrawn. She doesn't want to be involved in anything, but Cook is like a really interesting character to keep your eyes on, and I really liked the character of Cook. We also have Izzy, who is like another slave. She unfortunately has got injured because of the mother of Elias, who just hurt her one day for like doing one little wrong thing. And so Izzy is just a really sweet person. Like they're not really allowed to have friends, and you know, they still pretty much have this really good friendship between Leia and Izzy. So Elias is who they call Vituria, and Aquila is his sort of like best friend, and she's a sort of interesting character, because it's very obvious to the reader that she has had this crush on Elias like for quite a while, but he has been oblivious to it, because he is literally like, nope, you're my friend, nothing else is gonna happen. And yeah, he is throughout this book like trying to funnily realise what's sort of like going on between them. I really liked the ending to this book. It definitely makes you want to read the next book, which is why the next book is on my immediate TBR, and it just leaves you like, yeah, this is gonna happen. And it's a very sort of like ending, and I really approve of it. And you can get many endings. You can get cliffhanger endings, you can get other endings, but this one, you know, it's not necessarily like cliffhanger. It just sort of like ends that sort of way where you're just like, yeah, I really like approve of this happening, and yeah, I totally applaud the ending, and yeah, can't wait for the next book. So in the end, I had to of course give this book 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. I totally recommend it, and it was very good and interesting. So this is going to be the end of the non-spoilery section. I'm going to move on to a couple of spoilers where I talk into more detail about the characters and what I like and didn't like about them, and the same with like the events that happen throughout the book. So if you haven't read the book and you don't want to be spoiled, I suggest you leave now, pick up the book, and then come back to this video when you have done so. So I'm gonna say goodbye to the non-spoiler people and hello to the spoilers. So Leia is left with this message of find and save Darren and the Resistance. And so that is like her main sort of agenda throughout this book. So she does find these people of the Resistance. So we have a character called Keenan, and he is part of this Resistance. And he's an interesting character because in a way there is this sort of like this romance that's going on between Leia and Elias, which slowly sort of develops. It's more of like, I feel like I really want to help them. I feel like I have to. And then there's just like moments like where there was at this party, and like Elias is wearing this mask, and like she doesn't know who it is, and they like dance together, and that's probably like my favourite scene of the book, like just how they dance. And it's really like flirtatious and it's awesome. But Keenan, he's sort of like, he has this thing for Leia, and there is this moment where like something like could happen, but I'm not really feeling it with Keenan and Leia, if I'm honest. Like I'm shipping Elias and Leia like so much, and I'm hoping that in book number 2 there's going to be a lot more moments. Like hopefully they get together or something, because like they're just meant to be, these two characters. Like they're really meant to be. Helen is also an interesting character as well, because she's had this big crush on Elias for quite a while, but he's not really interested. He's just kind of like, well, she's my best friend, like I don't really have feelings like that. And he's always like kind of stood by that, which is why he sort of develops this sort of like a crush on the slave girl, who is basically Leia. But Helen kind of irritates me in a way. Like I don't know if it's just me, like I found when I was just reading, I was just like, oh, just leave me alone, Helen. Like I don't know why, I just didn't really like Helen. And it's yeah, strange. It's almost like, I don't know, like the vibe that I get from her is just sort of like she was doing things for herself, the sort of thing. Like and yeah, like it wasn't until like the end when she helped Leia that she actually finally did something. So I didn't really like Helen for most of the book until she actually proved that she does care for like other people other than herself. So she's an interesting character. The Commandant, who's basically Elias's mother, is a horrible piece of work. She's written really well, because I am just like disgusted with like her, and she's just horrible character. I really like the ending to this book, just how Elias is going to help Leia find her brother, because they've got these catacombs. They've got to find a way out because previous ways have been blocked off, and they're literally like going to go into the unknown, and it's just sort of like, what is gonna happen next? And I just love that sort of ending. Like I say, my least favourite part were probably the trials, because they were just like horrible to watch, not in like a bad way, but like they're quite gruesome, and it's just like, ooh, like it makes you cringe sort of thing. But my favourite part, definitely that dance where just Elias and Leia and he's under the mask, and it's just like, oh, I love it so much, and I think it's like awesome. So yeah, it's totally worth buying, and I can't wait to read what happens next. Obviously please no spoilers in the comments of what happens next. Just tell me if you think that I would definitely enjoy it if you have read it. And yeah, I'm happy that I've now reread this and that it's fresh in my mind still. Some parts of it was still fresh in my mind, like I remembered the trials of this, but I couldn't remember like other bits. I as I was reading, I was just like, oh yeah, I remember like she was a slave. And yeah, so just now that I've reread it like and listened to it as an audiobook, it's nice that it's fresh in my mind. And I'm gonna do like a little post-it note at the front of the book, so that I'm gonna put the main points of what happened, so that if ever I want to like go back to it, I can just look at the main points and be like, oh yeah, that's what happened. So I don't have to like reread it unless I really want to just go through it all again, because I've got so many books. I don't have a lot of time to go back and forth between them. So yes, that's the end of my review for An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up so I know you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down below in the comments if you have read this book and all that sort of jazz. And if you've read the rest of the book series, there's Torch Against the Night and A Reaper at the Gates. And if there's any other similar books to this series that you think I would enjoy as well. All of my social media links will be linked down below in the description if you'd like to follow me elsewhere. But that's it from me, guys. Keep smiling, keep reading, and be happy. My name is Katie, and I will see all of you wonderful, awesome people in my next video. Bye!